What's good, everybody? It's your boy Everton, and today we're taking some pictures with the iPhone XS Max versus the Google Pixel 3 XL. We're gonna see which one takes better pictures in different scenarios, and yeah, check it out. Do what we gotta do. Peace. So in the video, I'm walking outside of an outdoor mall, and this is to show off the front-facing camera. Now, pay attention to the stabilization here. There's not that much stabilization, although I had that turned on. And also, my skin tone on the iPhone XS looks a lot more natural in color, but it looks a lot softer. The Pixel actually has a more dull tone to it, but it's actually sharpened in the sharpness of the video. Also, pay attention to the sky. It's really blown out on both, but the Pixel 3 XL does capture a lot better. Me being the subject, I know that they sharpened it, but I like the natural tones of the iPhone XS Maxes in this scenario. So in this video, I was actually focused on the minimum focusing distance, essentially how close I can get to a subject before it starts to blur. And on this one, I can actually say that the iPhone was actually a lot more close to the subject in physical distance before it started actually blurring out. And I actually don't ever think it did blur out. I was able to get a lot closer with the Pixel 3 XL. I did get a couple warnings saying, hey, back up, to get better focusing, and I was able to physically or visually see that. But not only that, the video to me actually looked better on the iPhone XS Max, overall capturing that wood tone. In this photo, I'm actually looking at the blue of the sky in contrast to the subject, which would be the wire deer in the foreground. This is actually a great picture on both sides, but I actually do like the fact that that contrast is definitely so deep in blue on the Pixel. The photo processing is really great with that contrast. A lot of dynamic range here. You also have a lot of details that are still captured in the back with the plants. I think that both of them did a great job, but I'm gonna give the edge just for preference to the Pixel 3 XL here. So this can kind of be a toss-up. There's no clear winner here, but you can definitely see the difference in photo processing. The iPhone XS Max is definitely gonna have that darker blue within like the more prominent part of the water that's closer to the bottom of the picture. The blue on the sky looks a lot more natural to the sky in the Pixel XL, in my opinion. But yeah, it's basically a toss-up. So this is the same scene, but utilizing the iPhone XS Max's telephoto lens. The Google Pixel 3 XL does a decent job as well. Definitely good at retaining a lot of quality, but you can definitely tell that there's loss in detail where the telephoto lens on the iPhone XS Max was able to retain that better and overall give a sharper and more better looking image. So we have a more blue tone on the Pixel 3 XL and also on the iPhone XS Max. It's a little bit more warm, but I want to pay attention to the shadow on the Pixel 3 XL. That did an amazing job at retaining all that detail. It's definitely a cooler tone on that picture. In this clip, you're gonna see me walking, and then I'm gonna pick up and jog. This is to actually look at the video stabilization and the image stabilization that's turned on both. So the iPhone to me definitely is a clear winner in this picture. The subject, which is a Christmas tree, has a lot more green, where the Pixel has so much more shadows and loses a lot of details and the right side of the tree. It's just a better looking photo on the iPhone X. A lot more lively. So a lot of things going on in this picture. First off, it's a portrait mode shot with the front facing camera. Let's take a look at the hair first off. So the hair is what is hard to kind of capture from my hair type and my hairstyle, but the Pixel 3 XL does a better job at addressing those edges. But under the headphone, you can definitely see there's some matrixing going on there, and it definitely looks like the cutout is software process. With the iPhone XS Max, it looks a little bit more natural. Also, the blur effect in the back is just a little bit more natural with the iPhone XS. I like the foreground picture. I'm definitely sharper in the Pixel 3 XL, and it helps me separate. Without an eagle eye, I would like the Pixel 3 XLs better. If I'm really looking at it really closely, the iPhone XS would definitely win. Now this photo is actually very telling in the capabilities of the camera. So if you look at the Pixel 3 XL, you're gonna see that there's a very dark shadows, and they're able to retain a lot of the details in the back. Like look at the bridge all the way in the back. You can actually see some of the details that's left in there. When you look at the iPhone X, it's picking one exposure, dynamic range isn't really able to handle all that different levels of exposure, and they do their best, but the picture looks just a little bit washed out. Also, at the top of the photo, you can actually see that there's a light there, which is definitely a little bit more prominent. That is actually lost in the shadows. If you look under that blue spot where the Pixel 3 XL here, you're not able to see a lot of information. Overall though, the Pixel 3 XL captures a lot more dynamic range here, there's a lot more detail, and it's obviously the clear winner in this photo. So great job Pixel with that software processing. So one thing I want us to take a look at here is definitely the statue. That's the foreground of the subject, and the Pixel 3 is actually doing a really good job at drawing in a lot of exposure and still being able to not be overexposed or blown out. So if you look at like even some of the details on the neck of the subject on the Pixel 3 XL versus the iPhone XS Max, you're gonna see a lot more detail, especially in the face and on the hat. You can see a lot of those stitchings, and on the leg it's a lot more prominent as well. Now when we look in the background, we still see a lot of details, so great job with both cameras. You're gonna see that the back of the Pixel 3 XL's photo, because it's so exposed, it has a lot more details within those bricks of those buildings as well. Both photos look good. It's all about subjective preference at this time. The iPhone XS Max is a little bit more color accurate, but I think the Pixel 3 XL gives us a lot more detail within the subject, which is what essentially the subject of the photo was. So in this video, we're actually taking a look at autofocus and how it does when it changes autofocus from one subject to the other. I actually think both did really, really well. It's just a matter of preference at this point. Alright guys, so something I always want to do when I do these camera tests is actually see which one takes the best underwater photo or video, so we're going to do that now. Either way guys, that was just a little fun experiment, but these cameras are both very capable and both produce some very nice looking pictures. Google Pixel does a lot more processing, where the iPhone X goes for a lot more of a natural look. But let me know which pictures you prefer and which phone you think is the better camera. Either way guys, till next time, I'm Everton and I review cameras Everton's way. Peace.